Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour, where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today, we have New York Times bestselling author Alessandra Torre. We're going to be talking about her newest novel, Every Last Secret, why this psychological thriller is more about revenge and betrayal and less about gore, if she had a favorite part of crafting this novel, and find out whether we can expect a sequel. Plus, we're going to see if Alessandra is smarter than a fifth grader when we play Game Time. We'll jump in right after this. Hello, Alessandra. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Hey, I'm joining you from Key West, Florida. Fellow Florida girl.
Yeah. Is it sunny down there?
It is. It's actually gorgeous out. It's finally, I was talking to one of our team members the other day and I was like, we finally have that crispness in the air. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's been snowing here all week. But it's perfect outside.
It's like it's 60 degrees. Pull out your eyes.
Yeah, we're all like, where are your jeans at? We're pulling out stuff we haven't worn in ages.
Now, this novel that you've written is written under your pseudonym name, A.R. Torre. Why do you write under two names?
So Alessandra is a pseudonym. So I'm almost always incognito. But I started writing romance under Alessandra Torre. And it was my second book deal, which was with Hachette. They said it was suspense. It was sexy. I mean, it had erotic undertones, but it was suspense. It wasn't a love story. And they said, we want it under a different pen name. So I said, okay. And so we were going to go with a Z Torre, a T Torre, and we ended up with AR Torre. Everyone asked me what the R stands for. I have no idea. I need to come up with something. But and then when it came around to writing Every Last Secret, the publisher said, we want it under a different pen name. And I said, well, I'm not going to have three pen names. So it needs to be A.R. Torre or nothing. So they said, okay, that's fine. And it worked out well because all of my suspense novels now are under A.R. Torre and my romance is under Alessandra.
Well, Every Last Secret, pictured here, is your latest novel out. New York Times bestselling author Meredith Wild says, raw and riveting, a clever ride that will make you question everyone and everything. Tell us more about your latest psychological thriller.
Every Last Secret is about this golden couple, right? Who's Kat and William, and they are just fabulously wealthy. They are very popular in this upper crust California town. And she's like the head of society, she's the it girl basically in their little town. And her husband is just super successful. And then a couple moves in next door to them in this gated neighborhood they live in. And the woman of that couple, the wife, becomes very interested in their lives, and it's kind of one of these, she wants that world, and she becomes increasingly fixated on both Kat and William. And so it's kind of this toxic friendship, for lack of a better term, that grows between the two women, and how they both fight for the life that they want. So it's interesting. It's told in multiple point of views from both women and occasionally from their husbands. And it's really a domestic suspense, probably, is how I would classify it.
Yeah. Well, readers might not know this, but Every Last Secret was inspired by a close friend of yours that discovered her husband was having an affair, and the woman he was seeing turned out to be mentally unstable. Were the characters in this book based on real people?
100%. So, Nina was the villain of the story, is Nina, and she is definitely based on a woman who really just became just a wrecking ball in my friend's life. And it was funny because as we were going through the writing process, my editors were like, nobody is this bad, and it was like, yes, they are. I know they are because I've met this woman, and I've interacted with her. So I always wonder if she's going to read this book. If she does, she has to know her part in it. But absolutely. And almost all of my books have characters that are based on people I know or people that are in the limelight. Not entirely. And I was doing a radio interview the other day, and I said, even if I based a book off my sister, if she read the book, she wouldn't recognize herself, I don't think, because I never use the same, personality traits or profession. But the personalities I definitely take from those in my life.
Well, readers have noted that this thriller is less about gore and more about betrayal and revenge. Why did you decide to do that?
To me, it's so much more interesting. Gore doesn't do anything for me as a writer or a reader. And I do love dead bodies. Like, I love dead bodies piling up as a reader. That's what, if I read the back of a book that talks about a serial killer, I'm there, right? Like, I'm all about that. And this book I just finished, which comes out next summer, is about a serial killer, and there is a lot more gore. But for this book, because it was a subject that was so, like, I just lived through, and I knew how interesting it was and how fascinating it was. I really wanted to focus on the personal dynamics and those the kind of underbelly that exists when claws come out and people fight for those. So it's more focused on that and the personal relationships than it is, though there is a murder investigation that happens. Well, a police investigation that happens, but there's it's definitely light. There's no gore. I would say no gore.
Well, the wealth of Silicon Valley as the main backdrop of Every Last Secret. Was weaving that storyline in one of your favorite parts of writing this novel?
It's really interesting for anyone who reads the book. Originally, this story was based in a mountain town in North Carolina, high up on a mountain, and it was this resort, upscale, expensive neighborhood. But in the wintertime, all the majority of the neighborhood would go to their summer homes, right? So it was almost empty on the mountain during the winter, and there were only a few that stuck around. It was right by Research Triangle Park, so because the husband works in tech, so that's where the setting was initially, and it was kind of like these two couples were kind of like the only couples on this upper part of the mountain, so they were kind of forced to interact with each other because there really wasn't many people in town, and the Kat, who's the main character, had all of her friends really kind of left for this winter. But the editors, my publisher, really wanted it to be based in California. So we switched the setting to California, and I had no idea how much that would change so much of the feel of the book. Like, it really did, because this setting is almost a character in itself, and the neighborhood, and it's something that a lot of interviewers ask me about and people who read it. They're very interested in Atherton, which is where it's set. And I like doing the research for Atherton was great, but it did give it a different feel. It was the right move to make. But it's interesting that was the journey it took to get there.
What are you most excited for readers to read in Every Last Secret?
I would just, the ending, I mean, really is, I'm really excited for them to read the ending. There's some twists and turns, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm always curious when I'm writing a book. Am I giving too much away? Am I not telling enough? So I want to keep them intrigued, but I also want to keep some things behind my veil. So I'm just excited for them to dive into this world and to meet these characters. Some reviews say there's no likable characters in this book, right? Everyone's unlikable. And it's definitely, I mean, I get that. Like, I like all these characters, but I also like a little villain. I like a little villain in my characters. Squeaky clean characters are kind of boring for me to write. So, I'm excited for them to meet the characters, dive into this world, and then to see what happens in the end.
Well, you heard Alessandra Torre talk all about Every Last Secret. Stay tuned because when we return, we're going to find out more about her writing process. Welcome back to Book Hour. I'm your host, CarlyRae, here with New York Times bestselling author Alessandra Torre. Alessandra, you have written numerous novels, most of which are romance. Does writing a romance novel differ from writing a thriller novel?
Absolutely. So there are rules of romance that we have to follow typically. There needs to be a happy ending. That's really the main rule. So it actually, people think, oh, writing romance novels is so easy, right? Because it's always the same. You know, guy and girl meet, something happens, and they get back together. Well, that actually makes it really challenging, especially for me, because my background is not in reading romance. I never read romance. I never expected to write romance. I kind of fell into romance. But it's so much harder because for me, my challenge is to keep my readers on my toes and to keep them guessing. And that can be hard to do in a romance novel because you are constrained by some of these genre expectations. Where when I write a thriller, anything could happen, right? Like the main character could be the bad guy, you know, or I could kill the main character. Like I can't do that in romance. So I like that. I feel like I have zero rules in a thriller. I can do anything I want to do. And that gives me more freedom. It makes it more challenging when I write a romance. But the other cool thing about romance is I can use sex in interesting ways. So sex can really help amp up tension. It can move the plot forward. It's a very powerful tool that I can use in my chest. And I don't use sex at all in my thrillers. If I do, it's not so much like a character as it is in romance novels. So it sets a different tone. But I like jumping between the two worlds because I never get bored.
Well, do you have a favorite genre you write in? Where do you get your inspirations for your storylines?
Suspense is definitely my favorite genre out of the two to write in. And storylines come from everywhere. And it was really like, I never would have thought that I would have wrote romance, but that was the storyline that came to me, right? And that was the idea that I had. So I get inspiration from, like, Every Last Secret came from just a personal experience that I witnessed and interacted with, you know, and envisioning if that happened to me, how I would react. Other things come from documentaries I watch or news stories that I read about or things that I hear about, and I'll chat up anybody. Like everyone's got a novel-worthy thing that has happened to them in their life. You just have to sit there and listen to them talk long enough, you know, about it. And sometimes I take just a piece of that story and then I can roll it into something else. So it's just all about like keeping your ears open and listening to see what comes by you.
Now, you are not just a novelist. You were also recently promoted as CEO of a tech startup called Authors AI. How do you manage writing while also running a company?
Oh, it's tough. Let me tell you, it's tough. So, and it helps that Authors AI is in my world, right? So in Authors AI, we're using the power of artificial intelligence to help in the editing process. So it's like Marlo is our technology, and she's a developmental editor who doesn't replace a real editor, but can help you with your plot and your pacing and your character arcs. And story arcs. And so I'm always constantly involved in books in some form or fashion. And we just launched Binge Books, which is a site for readers. So I'm surrounded by books. And it was funny, just the other day, I spent 5 hours picking books to fill different carousels on the Binge Book site. And it was the moment where I was like, you know, I love books so much. Like I love young adult books that I'm looking at. And I was talking to you before the show about, I was like emotionally distraught over I couldn't pick a book to read because there were so many great options this Thanksgiving. And they were across all genres. So I love reading about books, and reading book samples and looking at covers also helps give me ideas. But there is just a period of time where I just don't have enough time in the day, right? And I'm up till 3 or 4 most mornings working. But my writing production has gone down. I used to write 3 to 4 books a year, and now I write 1 to 2 books a year. But I'm hoping to get back in 2 years or so to where I can write more full time and cut back my hours in other places.
Yeah. Well, in one of your videos on your YouTube channel, you talk about how to write a novel in 30 days. Is there a certain formula you follow to achieve that?
That is super easy. You just have to set aside a lot of time. So it normally takes me 6 weeks on a first draft, but but I can write a book in a month. Not a problem if I have time to devote to it. And a lot of people who are watching who might be writers are like, oh, but I have a job and everything else. And it was funny, when I had a job and when I have another job now, I'm actually more productive than when I had just all day and I could write, right? And before I know it, it's 10 o'clock at night and I haven't written a dang thing because I've been doing everything else, But I'm most productive between like 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. because email's quiet, my phone's quiet, nobody's looking for the remote for the television or something crazy that apparently I'm the only one who can help them find. And if you have an outline, it'll make the process so much faster. So I do as much preparation as I can. I am not an outliner. It stifles my creative process, but I do have a rough sketch of the book. So I know where it's going when I sit down to write. And then I've thoroughly researched my characters and the setting all beforehand. So I'm not trying to figure out what that character's personality is as I'm writing. Those are the things that really cause you to go down rabbit holes or go in the wrong direction or cause a lot of rewrites later, or you struggle, like that person bumps into someone on the street. How do they react? You don't know because you don't know that character. So I try to know my characters, know everything about that book, and then I sit down and try to zip right through it.
Well, you heard Alessandra reveal how she can write a novel in 30 days. We'll be right back to play Game Time.
Oh, wow. Is that pumpkin spice?
No, it's actually Fire Department Coffee's Harvest Blend. We don't do pumpkin spice.
Wait, you don't do pumpkin spice?
No, you know what? If you want pumpkin spice, go ahead and hit that button right there. Hey, by the way, do you like classical music? There you go. There's your pumpkin spice. Have a great day.
Welcome back. It is game time. The first game we're going to play is Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Alessandra, I'm going to read you questions from wehavekids.com and we're going to see if you can answer them.
Oh no, I'm ready.
All right. The first question is, who is the most famous English playwright?
Oh my gosh. Shakespeare.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Are these all literary questions?
No, they're mixed.
Okay, good. Because I'm not going to do too hot in the literary category.
All right. The second one is, how long does Earth take to revolve once around the sun?
365 days.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
I was a little worried it was 24 hours. And I was like, I don't think that's right. But it sounds right too. Yeah.
The third one is, a hexagon has how many sides?
6.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
I came close to missing that one. It sounds like 8, right? Hexagon.
All right. The fourth one, the hardest naturally occurring mineral is?
A diamond.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. All right. You're on a roll. So let's see if you get the last one. It is, what is the force that causes objects to fall to the ground?
Gravity.
Yes, ding, ding, ding. So Alessandra is smarter than a fifth grader. All right, the next game we're going to play is Fun Fact Trivia. I'm going to read you fun facts, and we're going to see if you can answer them.
All right, I love this game.
All right, the first question is, what is the rarest M&M color?
Oh my gosh. I wonder if these are like the normal colors that are in the bag,
Yeah.
not the ones like at the M&M store where there's like a gazillion colors.
No.
Normal colors in the bag. I'm going to go with orange.
No, brown.
Brown. Oh, I was so close to saying brown.
All right, the second one. According to Greek mythology, who was the woman on Earth?
Oh, this is a tough one. I mean, Greek mythology, the only Greek mythology. I'm going to say Athena because I have no idea.
It has to do with a box.
Oh, Pandora?
Yes. I could have said jewelry.
I appreciate the help. Thank you. I'll take all the help I can get.
All right, the third one. Which country consumes the most chocolate per capita?
Oh, per capita. Is Belgium a country? I think Belgium's a country. I'm going to say Belgium.
Switzerland.
Oh, Switzerland.
Which I wouldn't have thought that either.
Swiss chocolate, maybe? Is Swiss? Are there Swiss chocolates? I mean, I might be thinking of Swiss milk. Yeah.
Swiss cheese.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah. All right, the fourth one. Which 2 U.S. states don't observe daylight savings time?
Oh my gosh.
It's nothing on our coast.
Yeah, it's nothing on our coast. I might be able to come up with one of these states. It's Vermont. No. And Overmore.
Yeah, like way over.
Like Washington. I don't.
Arizona and Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii. And what was the second one?
Arizona.
Arizona. Oh man.
All right, the last one. What was the first toy to be advertised on television? It's in Toy Story.
It's in Toy Story. Okay, the Mr. Potato Head.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. You did get the last one.
I got 1 out of 5, right? I love that. Those were hard. That was good though.
We'll have to redo a trivia game next time you're on.
Yeah. You can find like the 3rd grade level. Yeah. So.
Well, that concludes game time. Alessandra, I want to thank you for being on Book Hour and joining us today. Before you go, tell viewers if you're writing more books or any of them are going to be on the silver screen.
Absolutely. So I already have a book that's on, already have a movie out. If you like to watch movies, you can check it out on Amazon or on a streaming platform called Passionflix. It's called Hollywood Dirt. It's fantastic. It's like a small town romance meets Hollywood. And it's Hollywood Dirt. And I just finished edits on so Every Last Secret is available. It's pretty much out now, audio and paperback. The next book is One Good Lie, and it will be out this summer. So I'm really excited about that. That's also a suspense novel or thriller. So yeah, that's what I got in the works.
Now, if viewers want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
My favorite platform is Instagram. So that I'm Alessandra Torre and the number 4, but I'm also on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm big on Goodreads. So please follow me on Goodreads if you like Goodreads, and you can find me on Binge Books.
Well, you heard Alessandra. Go check her out now. All of her social media handles are in the description below. Alessandra, thank you so much for being on Book Hour. And for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Carly Rae. Bye, guys.